Just publishing.
The hell is it? Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
All right, we should now be live.
Okay.
All right.
I'm now watching us in delay.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Unity devlog battle. I believe, let's just double check that we are, yeah, we should be live. That's perfect. All right, so this is now it's our first Unity devlog battle. This is our second walk the walk session, and it will be our third talk the talk session. Last week saw Mike take the win overall for the 2-week period leading up to the event.
That was just for the looks, though. So, yeah. Plus, yeah, I actually did get the win for that. So.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't for the looks, but okay, whatever floats your boat. Hi, Peggy. Don't worry about being late. We were a minute or so late ourselves, so that's absolutely fine. And tea is very important. I actually have two right now. I have Dr. Pepper and coffee, one for each hand.
That Dr. Pepper looks a little Guinness-like.
No, there's no froth on the top. Look, it's Dr. Pepper.
Oh no, that's flat Guinness.
No, I definitely don't drink Guinness, but there you go. All right, so first week, or first 2-week period, should I say, leading up to Walk the Walk session 1, saw Mike, very rightly so, take the win for that period. He had a lot of work to do, creating his characters, etc., so he got the win. The audience decided at the end that he would also get the win as well. I'm sure that's unanimous, right, Mike?
Yeah, it didn't cost me that much to sway the vote, so I'm happy about that.
No, okay, good. So I think everybody should be okay with the audio. Peggy, do you want to let us know in the comments if you're able to hear both of us? You should be. I think everything looks all right. My dials are going up as they should be anyway. So I like to check every week because we've done it before and the audio was a bit messed up. So, all right, good. So I suppose we should just get into it. So,
oh wait, we got it. I noticed there's an issue with the video. Oh, that's just you. Oh no, we're good. We're good.
All right.
Carry on. Carry on.
Peggy says, "Where's Hillabats?"
Peggy, where are you from? I can't see any of the comments, so
okay. All right, so we can jump into it. We can see that myself, I have a total of 9 points, and Mike also has a total of 9 points. So you might be wondering why there's 1 win on the side of Mike's and 0 on mine, and that's because it was a deciding vote. We put it to the vote. The audience and myself both unanimously decided that Mike would get the win for that first round. So we then proceeded on to our talk the talk, and which consisted of us planning out the rest of our Trello tickets for the next 2-week period leading into today's walk the walk session. So I think we can now start getting into the actual walk the walk side. So Mike, do you want to go first this time?
Sure. I was gonna say the loser should probably go first, but that's okay. We can go. I'll go first. We'll show my Trello board here.
Okay.
Okay. So this week again, the biggest thing was I had to do animating, and I chose to stumble around with the trying to animate within Blender. So as you can see, there's 3 sets of animations that I had to have done for that. Health bar, a health pickup, and I had a minion that I needed to create. So I'm going to start just for fun. I'll start with my health bar.
Okay.
So hopefully that brings up Unity there.
Yep.
And okay. Let me bring it up over here. Okay, so we'll start with So down here in the bottom, these are my health pickups.
Okay.
So I've got a health bar. So what I've done was in Blender again. I'm trying to stay true with the Blender theme here. So I did create these notes and the treble clef in Blender.
Nice.
And actually, let's just see real quick. We'll go. So there's the note that I created in Blender. You can see it. Again, just trying to go low poly. Here is the treble clef.
Nice.
That again, this part I'll admit, I wasn't sure how to connect these properly, so I did try to get rid of a lot of overlapping vertices and whatnot. It is probably not like watertight, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
So for 3D printing, that would probably blow up in my face. But for the sake of,
it looks great.
I think I feel like it fits. So if we go back to Unity here, you can see. So I implemented them. So again, now for the staff, I've never used the line renderer, and I wasn't sure. There's a lot of question marks as to how much real estate on the screen I want to take up with my health bars.
Yeah.
So what they're purposely skewed, and that's if I can click on, you can see here, these are all the lines. So for example, I've done one outer box here. So if I decide to go, let's say 7, right? So I can extend these if I really want to and change that to 7 and so forth. So I can make these changes as I go.
Yeah.
And then add more health. I figured I could code that in. So if I wanted to, right now I've got it set to a maximum of 6 notes, which are representing your health. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to hit play here. And I'll say Unity, the newest version, takes a lot longer on my machine, which is slow, which is probably karma for ripping on the other engine that will not be named for speed and performance. But anyways, here, so just to show, so you can see the notes all full up on the top left there. So that's full health. So you can see that if I click this one, nothing else happens. Now, if I fall, you'll see it lose. And then if I keep going, you can see them disappearing. I don't have my minion, and then when I pick them up, they all come back up.
Nice.
So that's basically, so far, that's everything to do with my health UI and my everything implemented there. So with that, if I go back to Trello,
yep.
Are you good with
I am
this health bar being completed? So you can see I did have my music notes, scale the note, and the particle effect when whatnot's added. So you good with that for my 2 points that I've
absolutely.
Okay. So I'll move that over to my completed.
And that that's 2 points, right?
The score. Yeah. So you're going to start over. So we're back to 2 points on the inner column, or are you just totaling it to the 9?
Yeah, just totaling it to 11 now.
Okay. So let me put this.
All right. So.
Okay. So you're up.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So let's jump.
You think just for the sake of argument, you don't want to go back to 2? I'll say here's why. Because these points, it might get confusing just for the viewers because our points, unless we want to change that, our points don't carry forward week to week. These points, it's only the overall win. Unless we can adopt a new rule for that if you want.
No, I think we can have another column in here for next week, maybe that will have total points as well. And then,
sure.
So for now, then, just to make it easier for everybody following along, let's just go and we can change yours now to be 2 points.
Oh, so it's 6 of one, half dozen the other right now because we're both square with 9 points. So
yeah. Okay. All right. So on the same note. See what I did there on the same note because just music. And,
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I got it.
All right. I'll change mine to 0, 0 as well, and so that makes sense for everybody now. Okay, let's switch to my Trello. So one of the first tickets that I had to do was, well, I'll go through the tickets I had. I had pressing buttons to add the hex to the grid, so I could actually start playing my game. Implement an explosion animation for once I had a match, again as part of the core gameplay. Then implementing the score screens, and then I had a lot of extra tickets, which were the leaderboards, which were going to be worth a lot more points because they were. I had to do all of the Laravel stuff as well, and I know we've got some requests to actually show some of the stuff of how I made the leaderboards in Laravel, etc. So I will actually be looking into showing some of that in my next part coming up. But I think right for now, I think we'll focus on the implementation of pressing a button to add a hex to the screen. And I think it was Esther was actually asking for information about Laravel, so stay tuned. Oh, yes, you were as well, yes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to Unity, and we can see my beautiful start screen. I'm going to jump into there. All right. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, they did it all. All right, so I'm just going to press A to start. I'm using the control right now. So the ticket was implement, press a button to add a hex to the game grid. So easy way to show that working is I'll select any item on the game grid. You can see my cursor moving as I move around. And I'll do X, which is the pink left. And I'll do A, and I'll go over to another one, B. So as you can see, all of those are going in. So that shows that I am adding one of these hexes to the screen, to the grid, every time that I actually press a button. So, okay, you ready? I have, yes. And they're also little mini hexagons as well. So, on that then, that ticket was this one here. So, are you saying that you are okay for me to... One thing that I'm not sure of right now is that I did have my points that were relative to these. Do you remember I had the points that were relative to them? Yeah, I think because I
You definitely had your points ahead of time.
Yeah.
I think that was only worth, I think, half a point, I think, if I remember.
No, I had a plugin on there, but I think it was a subscriber kind of plugin, and I think since then I've actually not resubscribed to the plugin, so I think it's just kind of turned itself off. So I think I'm going to have to try and work out what these actually looked like from last week.
We had a well, you could probably, next time I'm talking, if you want to try to grab a screenshot of last week's video, you can see probably your points.
Yeah, I could potentially do that. So I know that I had a total of 14 points that I was working towards, because that's on my Trello board here in this column. So I know that exists. So what I'll do right now is I'll just put them over in the same amount of points as what you've got for now, just to keep us level pegging as we're going along, and then we'll work out what they look like at the end of it, right? Well, you're not having them, so let's... All right, so I've moved.
You want me to?
Yeah.
Do you know how many points you had that was supposed to be for?
No, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to call that 2 points, so that I'm equal with you, and then we can move on through it because I'm obviously going to earn more points in this week's because we know that I had more points to earn, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
so I put myself
Okay.
on the same amount as you. So yeah, you can just go ahead and do your next one.
Okay. So if we back to my trial board, we have. What did I have? Okay. So I probably should have put my health pick up. We can. I don't know if you're still listening.
I am.
I
Yeah.
should. Okay. Seeing as you saw my health pick up again, are you? Let me just throw it on the screen. So there's that. There's technically my health pickup in Blender, and then here it is in. If we go back to Unity. So if you're good with my health pickup going, I've only given myself 1 point for that, but I'm going to add that, and then I'm going to carry on into one more just because we kind of already covered this. So if you're goodwill with my 1 point, I'm going to drag that over.
I am, and I also have my points up and running now as well, so I know what they are.
Okay, great. Okay, so that was kind of already done. So I'm now going to go to. Let's hit up We'll go to my minion. So my minion is. Uh-oh, I don't think I added him into this. I did. Okay, so I'm not gonna do my minion yet. Let's do my. I have. So I've got 3 right now. I've got idle, I've got swing, I've got strum, and I actually have a walk as well. So I'm going to show the walk. I don't know why I probably shouldn't have worried about this just yet. In fact, I thought I actually had the walk as part of one of my things, which it's too bad I don't. So you can see here, I've got this was the hardest thing to do with the inverse kinematics. But I did create a simple walk animation, so I'm just going to play that here. So you can see this is him walking with the guitar.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, again, that's my own fault for not checking out the Trello board. But I've got it on the board, but I didn't set myself points for it. So anyways, here's the walk animation. I'm going to go to, let's see. Here, I'll go to the idle. So I think this should be my idle right here. So here's what I've got him doing if he's just standing still. There wasn't a lot to this, I'll be honest, but this was after I dealt with the walk.
Looks really cool though.
So this is after the walk, which I probably should have started with this, seeing as it seems like an easier pose. But after the walk, the walk, there's a lot of nightmarish things that happened for me just to try to deal with all the little intricacies of Blender again. When you're trying to just go at it from nothing instead of watching a number of YouTube videos. I did watch again. Shout outs again to Infenzia. He's the one that I was following through with his walk animations and then just trying to get my head around, how the IK works with this. And it's you can see, if anybody out there that's watching right now isn't familiar with Blender, you'll see how overwhelming it can be with the rigging. All the different, there's the colors of the different rig options and stuff. So if I actually I turn that off, now it's more obvious. But when you first see all this, and this is your first time, it's just it is kind of overwhelming. But so with that, Will, are you good with let me go back to my Trello here.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that was the idle, and that I set myself up for only 1 point on that. So I think I'm up to 4, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Okay, and while you're going, I just realized I don't have one of my animations set up in my Stream Deck, so you can be a little bit more elaborate with yours.
All right. I'm sure I can be that. All right. Let's jump onto mine then. So my second one, and I've added my points in now based on last week's video, so I know what they are. So the next one I'll focus on is the implementation of the explosion animation for all of the matched lines. So again, I'll go ahead and hit play on Unity. Yeah, we've already seen it, but I just missed a match there. I'm gonna have to get another one now. Yeah, so see here now, I've got my A button will release that red, and then you see I've got a red in the top and I've got a red in the bottom. So if I go ahead on the center grid now and hit A, that makes the match of 3. So I can have 3 diagonal and vertical and horizontal. It only gets rid of the colors that it needs to get rid of. So say for instance, let's go to, let me try and make another hex. I'm just pressing buttons here, so I'm actually going to die in a minute, I think. Not physically. All right, so if I do this one now, so see the right column, I've got in my top column I have pink and yellow, and in the middle one I have blue, and then I have pink and yellow in the bottom one again. So now I'm going to choose A, which is going to put another pink in the middle right column, so that will only get rid of the pinks, right? And then I'm going to go to bottom left, and I can get a double match line here by putting the green down. And I can get a triple match now by putting the blue down. A quadruple by putting the X. So I've just built up quite a higher score there. I'm actually on a 5 times multiplier right now because I've got match after match after match. You know, and if I put a hexagon down now and I don't get a match, you'll see that multiplier will default itself back down to 1. See? So you could see from there, I'll just show it again just for the sake of marking it off Trello. This is the explosion effect that's happening whenever I get a match. And there you go. So that is proof in the pudding that actually works. So what say you, Mike? Awesome, thank you. So there we go. I've put that one over into there, and that one was worth a total of 3 points. So I'm just going to go over and change my points. All right. Are you ready to do your next one, Mike?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, sorry. I'm just trying to set up I'm still used to, or I'm trying to get used to this, our Stream Decks bit. So, that's my problem. So, anyways, back to the Trello. All right. Let's see, what should we head up? I guess we'll try my, right now I'm just trying to grab the strum. I'm not sure where my strum animation is. So we'll go with we'll go back to the minion. This is my last Blender creation, I guess.
Okay.
And hopefully this is it on the screen.
Yep.
And
he looks cool too, by the way.
Oh, this was, again, he looks a little bit more Spider-Man-ish than I was going for. I was not trying to go for that, and I'm gonna just get rid of that. Okay, so again, this is loosely based on the character that I've got in my intros, that's kind of chasing the I guess you'd say the protagonist. So what I didn't know what to do with the feet, so I just kind of made shoes. The horns were definitely part of it, just like in my character. The eyes are larger, like I wanted. He's got kind of a Spawn / Spider-Man ish esque, I guess, look to him, which
Kind of
wasn't.
Venom.
Yeah. I wasn't intending on that. Yeah. Okay, but I'm just gonna kind of roll with it. I like the horns. The red was kind of a last minute check. What I did do was to make claws. Is this guy's move, which I haven't animated yet. He basically is going to run at you with his hands up and try to slice you. That's basically what his character's going to, or his attack will be, which obviously I'm not there. But you can see, so he is rigged as well. So if I move him around, he's all good to go. So yeah, he's pretty simple in terms of the color. It was the character was all black that I had drawn in 2D, and I kind of like that feel. Again, he's a simple minion, so I didn't want to make him too complex because there's probably going to be a lot of them on screen. So I didn't want to get. I mean, I can always change the colors and stuff. The eyes are making it. They're too reminiscent of Marvel characters, which I'll probably do something else about that. But in the meantime, I mean, I'm okay with it. I just, like I say, I wasn't really intending for that look to come out, but
sure.
Anyways, so if we go back to the Trello board, Will, are you good with the 2 points for my character?
I absolutely am good with that. And Peggy says she's got to do her animations in Blender, so it's nice to be able to see the rigging in there as well.
Yeah, I'll say this, Peggy. It's first of all Infenzia. That's, if I can sum it up in one word, Infenzia. And however, the rigging, it's very easy to start. Like, so to get it from whatever your shape is, if you're using humanoid. In fact, if I can real quick here, let me go back to. I'll grab this guy. So, all you have to do. So right now, let's click off this, get off this. I'm going to Command A. So anyone watching, real quick, I'm just going to. If I forget how to move the 3D cursor.
Shift and click.
There we go. Okay, so right now, all I have to do is, there's something you have to, this Rigify, it comes with Blender. It's in preferences, add-ons, right here. All you have to do is just type in Rigify. So, and then Rigify to Unity. So make sure you install both of those. They're already here. You don't have to do anything external in terms of Blender other than just going through all this setup. And once you do that, under Armature, you'll see these guys come up. So there's animals you can add, but obviously, so the only one that I've messed with is this human one. And right away, you've got basically everything there. And so all I'm doing is, if you go through, and I delete the face. I mean, I'm not ready to take something as advanced as the faces for animating mouth movements and expressions. That's not something, at least at this point, I'm looking to get into. However, you can see already half the work's done. So once you shape out this character, you get your guy ready. It's just a matter of you click on the rig, go over to somewhere here. There's a Rigify button. Oh, I know why I don't have it selected. Here we go. There's generate rig, and then you just click on and you parent whatever the object is to that, and it's basically set. So in terms of getting my character to actually, if I click on this, to actually get it ready, where you actually can grab this and just move it around, is probably the easiest part of Blender, at least coming from someone that doesn't know how to model or create your own Blender character. So again, anyone out there, Infenzia, any artists, and you want to do your animating in here, Infenzia as well. That's been my only real source of YouTube videos. So, and again, with his 10-minute from nothing to finished product. It's great for those that don't want to sit through half hour to, there's people that are really good at trying to talk and explaining, and you'll probably learn a lot more from that kind of thing. But at this point, I don't have a lot of patience for this. Isn't really my passion. So for people like me, Infenzi is great for just being able to watch what he does and just kind of go over and practice over and over.
Yeah.
There's still going to be a lot of hiccups. There's going to be things that you won't necessarily understand or even you'll miss. I'm sure there's a lot of things that I've goofed up with my characters that I don't even know. But at this point, for being that it's going to be a 2D side scroller, you're not going to get a lot of. I'm not looking for realism. So in that respect, not that Blender can't do it, just that it's not again where my goal is. So Peggy and anyone else there, hopefully that helped. But aside from that, I think if you're good.
I am absolutely good with that. And how many points was that worth?
2. I gave myself 2 for that. So.
Okay, so you are now on 6 points for the session, and I am on a total of 5 points for the session. All right. So do you want to switch back to your cam?
No.
Good. Trello looks better. All right.
Fair enough.
So let's jump down to my Trello. You can see the tickets I have left in DevLog Battle 2 are the implementation of a score. And that's the one that I'll focus on next. So I'm going to highlight that one here and then jump back to Unity again. And at this point, I'm able to show you as you can see, the game's in a working state now, but the core gameplay is all in there. But for the purpose of the pointing system, let's just focus on the actual ticket that we're talking about. So that is the implementation of a score. So you can see underneath the 0 here, I already have a 279, which is my testing high score, just so I can test my leaderboards, which I'll go into in a bit. But this is the score that you want to look at, the 0 here. So as I go through and make some matches, you see that it went up 3 points then because I had a match 3, but it only had 3 in there. Now it's good that I've actually got these tiles at the bottom now, the 2 purples, because this enables me to show you what happens when you get more than 3 in a match. So I've added the other purple into here. Now, if I add this purple into here, because there's 4 matching colours, it's actually going to give me 4 points instead of 3. So that'll change to 7. You've seen that work. And now this also gives me this is actually a great grid that I've actually just got, because I've got a blue here now, so I can get a 2 times multiplier for this 3, which is also going to give me 6. So I should end up on 13 after this. There we go. So you can see my score is fully working. There's not much else to show on that. I guess it's just a score that goes up when you earn points. So that. Oh, yes.
But it's you can't be overlooked.
Yeah, so that was actually in it's in my Trello board, but it wasn't in for this week's. However, I just went ahead and put them in anyway because I wanted to know what it sounded like while I was playing it. So I'm not claiming any points for those at all. I've just put those in anyway. So I'll actually move. I'm not 100% happy with those sound effects yet. I need to actually play around with them a little bit more, and I need to put some kind of ambient background music in there as well. So as far as the ticket that we're focusing on right now is concerned, the implementation of the score, what say you, Mr. Mike from Canada?
I say that it's well done. Again, I'm really impressed with the polish right now. It's you basically have a working game already. I think that the only thing I think most people are waiting for right now is watching for your leaderboard setup. But yeah, it's right now you've got. If I were you, I'd be happy with that as it stands with it, minus the exception of adding more levels and a little bit more whatever you're adding, which of course you're doing. But in terms of like demo, excellent.
Yeah, no, it's, the core gameplay is there. There are several things still that I need to do on there, which I'll talk about those towards the end, I guess. But so I've added my points over onto there. Your camera has gone off, Mike. I'm not sure what you're doing.
I'm definitely not last minute trying to fix. I'll admit I'm trying to add my one animation to the. Is this now? Oh, damn it! I'm trying to find the right Blender animation. There it is. Got it.
All right, good. Okay, so I guess then we can switch to you then, Mike, for your next ticket.
Okay, so I guess I haven't added this to my stream deck, but just seeing as I've got this on screen now, let's go with my strum animation. So just have to find it, which one it is here. This it? Nope. Nope. Yep. Okay. So strum. This is a right now. So the idea, which again, I don't have projectiles yet. And this is something that it's going to be a work in progress until I have to get a feel for it, because I've got to implement. So I was working on a kind of a 2D version of what I'm kind of doing right now. So I had 2D artwork again, my Unity intro, if you kind of want to get a feel for what I was going for, and kind of what I'm doing now, minus the I've got like a target reticle and stuff. So the idea is that I'd be shooting. I don't know if I'm going to do that yet. Music notes, but I've got to shoot some kind of projectile. But on top of that, obviously he's playing guitar, so there needs to be sound with it, and I need the sound to not be obnoxious. So I don't know what I have to do with the speed yet. And in order to test that and get a feel for whether I need him to slow down or make a longer stroke with the pick hand. At one point I had it where he would, there'd be a downstroke and then an upstroke for subsequent, so if you fire once, you're on a downstroke and then upstroke. It seems a little bit too complicated for what you're even going to be able to see. So at this point, again, there's relatively simple animation. So I've got them just essentially, what'll happen is this will be, I don't know how to not loop this in Blender.
Yeah.
Is there a way to not loop it?
I do not know. I haven't done any animations in Blender, so.
Okay, so anyways, basically, so from here, and then this, he's going to strum and then go back to the original position. So I've got the hand motion. I guess it's from here to here is the actual strum. And so the hand motion is just kind of try to sell it, so that when he's essentially, you're going to see him walking like this, and that'll be kind of what you see, assuming, so each button press will get you from here to, and then fire the projectile and then back to your stationary point. At least at this point, that's, I need to throw audio into it, mostly the audio, which I'm probably going to record myself. I'll do a simple chord. I'm not sure if I'm going to have I might have a chord progression so that each note isn't necessarily the same one, but obviously it has to be in a key, or at least some scale, so that it's not sounding terrible. But again, I have to be careful. I don't want it to be. It's a weird situation, because normally, if you fire a gun, you're hearing a set tone based on, or set sound based on whatever the weapon is that you're using. So, if it's a machine gun, or you'll hear the same exploding from from the gun. In this case, it's the whole goal of it is sound. So I have to think it through, play around with the audio. So again, I'm gonna record my own chords or whatever for it, and we'll see how that plays out. This one, this as simple as this is stemming from. It was complicated to get to this point. So, again, simple. There's only really, like you say, there's 3 keyframes that are actually animating here, but
no, it looks great, man.
As far as that, where do I have it? So there's my strum, which again, I know it's simple, and with 2 points, probably not in under normal situation, but for me to get from, I think adding that, because I went everything from that walk animation to get here. So aside from that, what say you, Will, of Brit, who's a little, I won't say.
Well, I could say no now for that, but no, I say that that's absolutely fine. And how many points did you award yourself for that? 8, 2?
That was 2, yeah.
Okay.
8.
You wish.
Okay. So that leaves me. So how many tickets do you actually have left? I have 1 left to show.
Yeah. So I have 3 tickets. Both 2 are related to a game over screen, so I can do both of those at the same time. And then I have my leaderboards that was kind of the bigger one that I added on to the end. So let me switch back to my Trello and we'll take a look at those. There was 2 tickets, 1 to actually design a game over screen and 1 to implement a game over screen. So the only way that I can show you this is by actually playing the game and getting to game over so you can actually see it. So
where are we at?
So I'm on 7 right now. And with these 2 points that I get from here, that would put me on 9.
Okay.
So let's take a look. Let's jump into Unity. And what I'm going to try and do now is hit game over. Which actually is surprisingly quite hard to do. So you can see that I'm just going to try and just randomly place all of these all over the place so as not to get a match. Trying to do it in a clever way, so... I'm going to accidentally get a match here in a minute, I'm sure. Okay. Yeah, that's the whole aim of the game, is to go for as long as you can without filling up that screen. Always being able to remove elements from the grid. So let me go here, and then I think if I go here and here, this should be game over. Should be. I can go there, and I can go. Yeah, here is the last move. I know, right? So there you go. It's just taking me to the game over screen. You can also see the leaderboards on the right here, which... Yeah, I just cut out one of the actual hex and then just use Photoshop to just draw around into like kind of a broken kind of design. Yeah, but it looks nice. I'm happy with that. So you can see my score just then was 16. How did I get 16? Not sure. But you can see here, I've got the leaderboards on the right here, which I'll talk about in a minute, but they also show on the game over page, just so you know where you are. And then you can see, also, you can see my high score is 279, and my rank is number 1. And as you can see on the leaderboards there, GameDevGuy is number 1 with 279 points. So that all works as well. So I'll switch back to my Trello. So designing the game over screen is what we were just talking about with the hexagon that's all ripped up into shreds. So what say you, Mike, for that? and the actual implementation of the game over screen. So what I had to do to get there, it should have been worth way more than one if I'd have thought about it. But what I actually had to do to get into that point where it was actually I could implement the game over was figure out all of the elements on the grid if there actually wasn't a valid move anymore, which is it's no mean feat to be able to go through that grid and figure out if there's any more valid moves. So that took quite a while for me to actually sort out. So that would have probably been a 3 or a 5 on a usual. I think the next time I work out that kind of thing, it will be a 3 or a 5, but I stuck it in as 1 in this time, so I'm going to stick true to that, and it is just a 1. So the implementation of the game over screen, Mike, what say you for that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's again, you've got at this point you have this is I think with the exception of the leaderboards this is your whole demo already, right? So yeah, you've from beginning to end you've got that part set up.
Yeah.
Leaderboards are obviously good to have, but even without them right now you have basically a fully functional demo. So well done, Will.
Thank you. And yeah, you're right, I have got a fully functioning demo, and one thing I was actually speaking to Mike earlier on before we actually jumped on the stream, and I did mention that I'm thinking about how I can get this demo out to the public. So I think what I can do is, what I'm looking to do is I do a Thursday show as well, a Let's Play and review show, where I take 3 indie developers' games, I put them through the paces and, try to figure out any bugs, etc., or, any gameplay mechanics that could be improved, and let the developers know live on stream how to better the game or the mechanics. So I think what I'm going to do on Thursday, this week's, is actually put my own demo on there, and have a little play of that on the stream, and also pinpoint things that I actually want to change in the game myself from my own perspective. So that should be quite a little cool thing for me to do. And I think at the end of Thursday's session, I think I will make available the demo of the game for other people to start playing and start earning high scores. The game is actually ready to be a demo right now. I've actually got it packaged up and ready to go, but if I get enough people asking me on Twitter over the next couple of days, I may just kind of leak a zip out to people. But other than that, I'll be releasing it on Thursday, I think.
Yeah, that's great. I think what would be interesting, I'm not sure how you would implement this. I think it would be a great idea for opening yourself up to let others talk about ideas or things that might stand out on with your Thursday in the chat session.
Absolutely.
So you're kind of a little role reversal Thursday for you, just to see what other people have to say. And just get some other opinions out there.
That's exactly what I would want from this kind of thing. I mean, I do it myself. I speak about other people's games and tell them how they can improve them. And quite often, and I know this as a developer, a lot of developers won't like to, I suppose, admit that they don't know everything, that they don't see everything. But I'm one of those kind of developers that understands that whenever anyone's playing anything that you've created, they have their own opinions on what can be better, and a lot of the time the suggestions that people can come up with are absolutely fantastic ideas. So I'm all for that. I think me putting it out there and saying, yes, I review other people's games, this time I'm going to let you review mine, like you say, is perfect.
Yeah. One of the thing too, that for people to make it easier to take the constructive criticism is that sometimes, you've got your idea of a game. It's very easy to get tunnel visioned, and then even microscopically tunnel visioned as you sometimes pull yourself into a direction that you don't realize isn't for whatever reason has pulled your train of thought, and it really helps to have other people just to like what you do every Thursday, just kind of bring up some things and so that you can become aware and go, oh man, you know what? I thought of something like that, or just got distracted, or just something that's can be great ideas that are only help the developers out.
Absolutely. Well, it's like you
So-
say, it's tunnel vision, and every single person, every creative person that's creating anything, has their own idea of what they want the final product to be, and sometimes that idea of what they have in their head is the only outcome that creativeness can be, and that's not the case. Just because you like something or you think something is perfect, it doesn't mean that it is, and you've got to be open to accepting that, you know what, you might have actually been wrong. You may have also been right, but you could have also been wrong. And I think a big part about growing as a developer in general is being open to accepting that kind of feedback and saying, okay, so I need to change my way of thinking as a developer now to broaden my own little tiny mind here of what I believe is perfect. And I think it is right what you say there.
Yeah, I think just one last thing to touch on that is, a lot of people, they come up with their ideas and they want to make their game the way they want to make it. The thing is, what you have to accept is that's fine. The reason that you make a game is because you want to make a game that you want. That's usually what starts it. But if you're putting it out there for others to play, you have to accept that just because you have to let your hands off the reins sometimes, to accept what other people might want to do with your to play. So if you're making something just for yourself, and you really don't care about the other feedback, or you don't want to monetize it or whatever, that's absolutely fine as well. But if you're putting it out there for other people to enjoy, you have to appreciate that there might be some offshoot aspect of your game that you thought was you just, for whatever reason, you've kind of cemented in your head. But it's okay if you see enough people wanting, for whatever reason, just throwing options out there that all seem to pull in another direction. It's worth investigating if you're trying to put it out there for other people to play. So, and that's what I think most developers are. They're open. They just don't realize, again, with the tunnel vision, sometimes you focus and you forget there's other things just outside of what you're looking at, just because you've been looking at it for so long.
Yeah.
So, anyways, let's get to. I'll get to my last one, because I think everybody that's watching is probably nobody cares about this. They want to see the leaderboards, and I for one also. So with that, I will go to my Trello.
Okay.
And my last one here is the swing attack, and I will say that this is one of the ones where I'm not going to admit defeat per se, but this swing attack. I'm going to be upfront and say I'm not overly happy with it, and I always, one of the things I try to do as a developer is have a backup plan. So I'm probably not going to stick with this. So just up front, I'm okay that I really wanted to push this. I knew this was going to be the most complicated thing for me. So I'm going to throw this up here right now, and let's see if I can find which one it is here. Okay, so what I've done immediately was to pull. I don't know if this is the right approach. Again, animations, to be honest, programming is my background, not the art side, and I'm really pushing myself to get out of that, especially when you want to be an indie developer. If you want to be an indie developer, you have to go into directions that you may not have wanted to go. So this is one of the things that I've really struggled with was artwork, and that's why I'll shout out to John and Al Heck at GameDevHQ. They've got their own file base for assets. Also, obviously the Unity asset store has some assets, and I encourage anybody that if this is what's stopping you to get your game out, look for an asset. If you can shell out a couple of bucks, some of them are worth paying for just to get pushed through. In this case, this was kind of our challenge in this was to push ourselves. So I felt at least at this point, it wouldn't be true to us to not go this route, at least for me. So I pushed myself to just try to get something going here. So without further ado, I'll just play it. So here's my swing. And again, I wish I knew how to not do a loop, but at any rate, so Let me turn my rig off. Where the heck is my rig? There it is. Okay, so he's kind of like, I was trying to implement like a baseball-ish swing.
Yep.
And again, I've got him from, this is so I'm envisioning he's holding the guitar, and I could be doing this completely wrong. And in all honesty, I probably should have just gone from my first frame to be in this. So just gone from strum to backswing. But I also, one of the things I'm trying to do, and you can tell it's not, I've got some issues here with my rotations and stuff, because again, even I'm, like I say, I'm a bit, this can be overwhelming. You'll see, I'm going to have a video released for behind the scenes and me creating all of this shortly. But there's a lot of struggles with this IK, the inverse kinematics and forward kinematics with the hands. One of the things that I'm probably going to do to remake this is I'll probably go to Mixamo, grab the animation, and then just parent the guitar to one of the hands. Because right now, so what I've got this in Blender, I've got the guitar. It's a child of my right hand. So no matter what happens, it's going to stay with that hand. And so I probably should have just gone, what I was trying to implement here at my 0 frame is the act of grabbing the guitar. And it doesn't, I know it's not looking over, I'm trying to get this, oh wait, there. So it is supposed to be, the guitar is supposed to be in front of this hand. The arm's supposed to go underneath it. And I guess I've got it a bit bleeding through, which I thought I solved it, but I guess I didn't. So I was trying to get the first initial grab, which is probably overkill for the type of game that I'm doing. But at any rate, and I should have just jumped to this back pose. And the problem with, so in Blender, or I shouldn't say Blender, in Unity, you've got two ways to bring in your the rig. One of them is where it's just a generic, and then the one where there's humanoid. So I want to use humanoid, and with humanoid, I don't believe you can use stretching. And so trying to, like, this isn't, I can tell this is not the greatest backswing. Like, I really wanted to sell this backswing, and I don't know that. Like, when I try to bring this guitar over, this arm just really stretches out to come across. And if I try to keep my proportions all proper, short story, I don't know what I'm doing. And it goes all weird. So I brought this back as far as I could without really bringing his arm into his chest and whatnot. So like I say, I spent a lot of time on this trying to perfect it. But I also, the problem with doing it this way is, so with my strum and my walk, I've got the guitar actually parented to the chest, one of the chest bones, so that the hands can move freely. And then right now I've got it parented to this. Otherwise, I have to figure out, I don't know how to, I was trying to add these bones. So I had the guitar rigged so that I'd have bones at different spots. So the hands could shift between, like even here, this hand is a bit far up the neck. But if I change it, I just didn't have a great, I'm sure if anyone that's watching, they're probably yelling at the screen right now, because I'm sure there's ways to fix this. So at this point, the effort to try to get what I've done, I mean, I try to get the hips moving to try to help sell it over. Like, basically, I'm trying to overcompensate my lack of ability for the swing with the hips, similar to Will's, having to get his 35 button Stream Deck to compensate. So but at this point, I forced myself to come up with what I thought was essentially the best that I could do. And I feel like if I had to, I feel like from a profile, and if I'm playing this, I feel like it works. Again, this is the idea I had for the swing essentially, I'm trying to limit. I don't want you to just be able to fire off strumming the guitar. I've got some things in my head that I want to do with to limit that. So basically, if somebody gets close enough, obviously, or there's going to be an enemy that's immune to whatever you're shooting at the guitar, you'll need to hit. So the hit's not necessarily going to be the main attack. But having said that, I think that my best course of action, given the time that I really don't want to spend in this, and I'm sure there's you could, if I work at this long enough, I'm sure I'd be a master at this. I think what I'm going to do, the easiest way, at least from my standpoint, would be to go Mixamo, grab my animations, and then just edit them in Unity, and then I can change the parent depending on the animation. It's a lot easier to do. I'm thinking with code, just to change where the guitar is parented to on the fly. This is, again, I thought drawing was going to be the hardest part. To be honest, I thought animating was going to be easier. For me, I don't know if it's just a mental block. It's just something that I'm just not able to. Again, there's something too. I'll say that it's people that can animate. It's definitely its own art form. You have to understand. I mean, there's the reason why there's people that use the like motion capture stuff to try to understand what happens with the body. I mean, I can't really watch myself swing, so I'm just trying to kind of envision what happens when you do it. Again, I feel like I don't know that the quality's there, but at the same time, if I was trying to push this, I feel like I feel like I could use it. In fact, I might even if I managed to get something a lot better with Mixamo and whatnot, I might throw this in there as a secondary or something just for fun. But
I think it looks good.
That,
I think it looks doable for what you're trying to do right now. The only I say yes to your points there, by the way. So
here, I'll go back. I'll go back if you're. I'm listening here. If you've got some constructive criticism other than.
Yeah, it's not with.
Then quit while you're ahead.
Well, yeah, now you say it. No,
yeah.
It's not so much with this animation itself. It's with all of the animations outside of the walk animation. With Unity, you're able to do like kind of the blend trees and figure out how you need to actually transition from one to another in terms of animations. But I think one thing that I'm not seeing here on these animations is particularly the swing one here and the strum one is the placement of the legs. Because if you're walking or indeed you're running or doing something else at that point, and then you hit the strum button or you hit the swing button, according to what we're looking at here right now, it looks like it's going to transition from the walk straight into this kind of a stance.
Yeah, it is. It is something that I've thought of, and I've figured we'll hit that bridge when we get there. But that was at the beginning. In order to try to, I feel like at this point, I'd either have to fully master every animation in Blender, and again, this is not. Given that it's clear that Blender's not my forte. Also, I've only been doing it now for since we've started these battles. Yeah. So the part of the issue is motivation. So it's just not something that I really want to do. So there's a bit of a it's not in my heart to work on these, at least not within Blender. Yeah. So at this point, I'm okay to use these. I don't know how they'll implement together when I do that. But at the same time, I think I know what I want to do for my next bits. I really want to, I got to get it all put together. So in Unity, I want to be able to, I click the strum button, strums it. I walk, run, whatever, swing. So in order to do that, I think I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board, and I'm gonna go with Mixamo because I've been chomping at the bit this whole bit. Unity's, both. I think Will, you and I both. That's our forte. Will, you've got a number of programming language on your belt, but Unity's really where I want to be in, and Blender's been taking up. It's been a bit of a hog of my time. Yeah. So I was excited to get back to do my the actual the board, my health bar, because I'm actually in Unity and doing the programming. So, anyways, I'll get off this topic because I don't want to hold up your thing. So,
Peggy's got on the comments and said if it's a side scroller, it's pretty forgiving if the hands are bleeding into the guitar, and I actually agree with that. I mean, to be honest, you don't really notice it anyway, and as you say, it is going to be from the side. And you're not really going to see where it overlays into that. I mean, in 3, 4, 5, 6 games time, after you've created a load more under your belt and you've got to grips with all of these systems even more, you'll probably have a perfect model with a perfect kind of melee attack and all the rest of it. But I think one thing that you mentioned there about not wanting to get into the Blender side of things is something that an indie developer, as standard, doesn't have a team of people around him to be able to do all of these things. Now, a studio will have somebody there to do the Blender models and have someone there to do the animations. They'll have someone there to do the effects. They'll have someone there to do the environment, and then they'll have someone else just sitting there doing the actual code. So all of these different people that are involved in an actual full-scale indie studio are all inside an individual when we're doing an indie game. So we have to wear many different hats. Like I've been battling with the music side and the audio side this week. It's not my forte. I mean, I have dabbled in music previously in the past, but it's not my forte. So having to put on that hat and try to work out those things is really difficult. So what you're saying is we are expected as indie developers to not only design the game, not only to come up with all the mechanics, we have to do the animations, we have to do the effects, we have to do the environment, the core gameplay, all of the algorithms related to anything that we need to do. We have to implement everything ourselves, and that sometimes that's too many hats to put on. But we have to do it because we're an indie developer. That's the whole nature of being an indie developer, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, in fact, Will and I talked about this early with because I was struggling right away with just getting the. It wasn't so much understanding how to move it, but I was having these weird. I call them weird because I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm sure other people would be like, "Oh, it's because it was to do with I think the inverse kinematic with the hands." It wasn't as obvious, and again, I didn't want to keep going back to. Sometimes you learn more by solving it yourself than keep researching, especially with Infenzia. So I managed to get through that, and I feel like I'm better now for it. But at the same time, I feel like now at least I'm comfortable if I have to make a simple animation. At least I'm qualifying myself as being capable of doing that if I have to, given that if anybody's out there if you've opened up any of the animations that you've downloaded from anything, even from Mixamo, even from people that have just spent time to upload their own, you'll see the keyframes. I've got I think the most I've got in terms of keyframes going for a timeline, probably I think my walk actually has the most complicated one. I think it's 25-ish frames, and then there's a marker for depending on which body part's actually animating. That is nothing. And given that it's low poly, I'm cool with that. But you open up any of these other ones, there's hundreds or even thousands of different little keyframe points all over the place. So it's definitely, if it's out there and Mixamo's free, and there's ways to edit it within Unity, I'm just better off trying to, instead of pulling my hair out for trying to master the animation side of it in Blender, and just using those and editing that, which I've already kind of worked out in my head. I mean, it makes sense to do it. I just I didn't want to quit trying.
It's not that you're quitting. It's that you're figuring out how to do it in another way that actually works better for the game. As an indie developer, again, we have to make sure that whatever we're building, we can build out within our budgets, within our time restraints, within everything else that we have going on in our lives. And if that means that you spend some time trying to work out something in Blender to do the animations and then realize, actually, do you know what? I'm actually better off going over here and using these pre-made ones and just attaching my objects into it, then why not? not? You know, that's what they're there for. That's why Mixamo exists, in order to provide indie developers with a stepping stone into animations.
Yeah, and one last thing, just the swing is, I really wanted the Mixamo thing. I did have a bit of a control freak incident where I didn't want to rely on Mixamo for my swing. I just had this idea in my head of how I really wanted to sell it, and then when I tried it in Blender, I realized that it not only was I not able to hit what I had in my head, it's going to be nowhere. It's going to be inferior to what I can find and edit within Mixamo. And given that you can actually edit the frames and just even truncate within Mixamo, it at this point, if my passion was Blender and animating, I'd be foolish to switch out. By giving up, by the way, I didn't mean abandoning what I'm doing. I wanted to push through to make my animations. I had a goal in my head that I would make them all within Blender, and I feel at least I accomplished that. I'm not overly happy with them, but that's what I didn't want to quit on. I wanted to at least push through and say, okay, I tried it. And again, nothing against Blender. It's great. I've always known that the artwork side of it wasn't my passion. So, with all of that being said,
yes,
Will, with my swing for 2 points.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And
so that finishes.
Well, also Peggy just says on that as well. She says, Mike, if Mixamo doesn't do it for you, try Kevin Iglesias on the Unity store.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
So
Kevin, let me. I'll make a note of that here.
Just something else for you to look at there, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to give you your point. Now that I'm right in saying that's your final point for this session, right?
Yeah. So I'm out. So that should be, I think, 10, right?
You wish.
What? No. I've got. Isn't that
9?
10? Is it 9?
Yeah. Well, just count them up again for me, just in case I got it wrong.
I thought I had 10. Let's see. This is.
Well, let's see. It might be.
Okay, so we are here. So there's 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9. Wait, I think I get 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10. 10.
Okay.
So, hold on. Let me put just for where. So here's my screen here. So the plot, that was my last one from last week. So I've got. So the health bar was the first thing. So that's 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10.
Okay. So I'll put you over to 10.
It doesn't matter at this point because.
Well, no, it does. It does. Let's get it.
So how many points do you have right now?
I have 9 right now.
Okay, so yeah, so that does put me to the lead, and so this is your finale. So
yeah. So
let's see.
Okay, so let's get into that then. So one thing that I wanted to do, as we know, is implement the leaderboards. Now, it wasn't just a case of you having your highest score and then seeing your highest score littered everywhere and saying, yes, I've just beaten my score, all the rest of it. I wanted it to be an online global leaderboard that would go between all of the people playing it so you could try and compete to get to the high score. So a couple of things that I had to do in order to implement that was, number one, I had to set up a Laravel project so that I could create my own RESTful API that would allow me to submit scores, relate them back to players, have relations in the database so that I could pull back leaderboards later on and, show you username and all the rest of it. So, and I think I posted a couple of things on Twitter over the last week of my progress on that. Esther especially wanted to take a look at this. Hi, Car. How you doing? It's just Car in the comments there. And then, Mike, you said yourself you also wanted to know how to do it. So, full disclosure, I actually
have no idea.
Full disclosure, I've got a large background in PHP already. but mainly with CodeIgniter framework. I've never. This is my first time actually using Laravel as the framework, so I had to get to grips with how to actually utilize that as a framework. So I had to start from scratch where that's concerned. The CodeIgniter and Laravel, they're both PHP frameworks, but Laravel is kind of the industry standard now, and it's the standard that we've adopted into my creative agency, Pixelbeard. So in order for me to be able to help my developers within our company, I have to be able to know all of these different things, the frameworks that they use in all different languages that you're using. So I had to, at some point, jump into Laravel and start learning that anyway. So this was a prime time for me to jump into it. So if I jump to Unity, what we can see here on the right-hand side is I've got the top 10. Top 10 of the leaderboard. You can see I'm top with 279. You can see my high score is 279 here. Now, what I can do is show, because I know these parts you yourself, Mike, and Esther are also really interested in seeing. From a Laravel standpoint, no, sorry, that's Ryder. That's not Laravel. From a Laravel standpoint, I have my routes set up here. So I've got 6 different routes. I have submission of a high score. Let me just... I've got my own servers. Yeah, so this is hosted on my own domain name, which is dadsongames.com. It was a domain name I set up with my son, because I actually build games for my son as well on Roblox, etc. But it's...
So you, right now, obviously you have a paid thing for it, but is there no, what would you, is there a free way to host?
I do not use free providers, so I don't know. I think you can do some stuff with Firebase. Firebase for Unity, so I'd definitely look at something like that if you needed to, but I've got my own servers, so I can host my own content, my own website, so that's what I use. So I had to build this Laravel project. Let me switch back to PHP Storm. So these are the routes. I've got 6 routes. I have post high scores. So you can submit a high score. You can get the top scores. And what I want to do in the future as well, and I've already created it, is get recent top scores. So within the last kind of 7 days or 30 days or whatever. So this will just give us the most recent ones within the last 30 days right now. So that's not implemented right now because I don't need that right now. That's not what I need to do. In order to be able to associate high scores with a player and your version of the game, if you like, I had to have some way of tracking what your user ID was, so that I could say that the GameDevGuy is user ID 1, whatever that is, so I can now track scores for GameDevGuy. So I had to have an API call to create a player. I've also got a patch API call here, which you use patch in a RESTful API. You use get when you want to retrieve content, you use post when you want to submit content, and you use patch when you want to make an update to that content. So this is a patch, and it will update the player with a username. This is for something in the future. I want to give the ability for the user to, by default, and I'll show you this working in a second, whenever you first load the game, it generates a username for you. It's guest, and then a GUID, which is a user ID associated with it. So that will submit it to my database straight away, and then I can start recording your high scores for that player. And this last one here just gets the player by the player GUID. So I'm going to show you in terms of what that looks like in Postman. Let me switch to Postman. So you can see that I have 6 endpoints here. I have post high score, and I have get high scores. In fact, I'll just do a send on this. This is the actual API. The response you see at the bottom here is a JSON response. So you can see here, this gives me the most recent 10 items, GameDevGuy being top. So inside Unity, I'm using something called simple JSON, which takes in this response and then lets you parse it, lets you go through all of these individual elements in the array and do what you need to do with them. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. So with any standard RESTful API, nowadays the standards are that you return it back in JSON format, the same as this. So each of these is a high score. Yeah, does that make sense? So that's getting the high scores, posting a player. So for instance, if I wanted to say, yeah, but I do that automatically with all of this now. So if I jump back to Unity, and for instance, I can actually make it so that my start screen resets my user ID. In fact, you know what? I don't need to do that. So we actually have right now, if I jump back to Unity, and I will go ahead and load my game over screen. I'm just going to load this. Now, this may not work completely right because I'm jumping into the game over screen and it's not receiving my score that I've passed it. But you can see here I've got 279 for GameDevGuy at the top. Now, if I wanted to... Now, when it's game over in the game, I actually automatically submit the score to the online leaderboards if it's greater than your previous high score. So if for instance, I got 278... I wouldn't bother sending it to my server because there's no point sending it there because it's not higher anyway. So let me just do this. If I go into, so I can see here, where's my usernames? GameDevGuy. Go into my, I'm just going to show you the database as well, actually, while I'm here, because I know people wanted to see this. So very simple database for this. I have 2 tables. I have high scores and I have players. You can see inside my players, I've got GameDevGuy, and my GUID is, this is my user ID. So if I jump back to Postman, and I look at the post high score, and I look at the body, see if I go down here, you can see that I can now put in my GUID, and I know that I have 279. Now, if I change this to 285 and I hit send, that's now told me that I've got 285 and I'm first. I'm ranked number 1. Now, if I go back. No, this was actually high, but I can prove that. That's fine. So I'm just going to run this again, and you'll see the leaderboards actually change now, and you can see I've got 285. Oh, sorry, Unity. So I've got 285 up here now. So that's pulled in direct from the API. So all of that's working. So just to jump back into, because people wanted to know how I actually got from Unity to an API to actually pull it back into Unity. So if I jump into PHP Storm, we have several little things that we do. We have the roots file, which it tells our framework what the roots are going to be. So / high scores, that's the API call that I need to hit in order to return all of my high scores, right? Now, in terms of things like creating a player, I start with a controller. I have 3 different things. I have create player, update player, and get player. I pass that over into a service. As you can see, this player service, update player. In fact, let's focus on this one. This player service, create player. This hits my new file of player service, which then tries to hit a repository, which is where my logic for all of the database requests and everything sit. This is standard kind of design pattern for Laravel. It's a repository kind of based pattern. So this does my database requests. This is the actual validation of the request to say that username has to be a string. A player GUID also is a string and with a minimum of 19 characters. And then this is what gets returned from the API. which then pulls back into player controller, which the initial route hit in the first place via the controller here. So you probably, that was probably too fast for you to kind of gauge what it is, but if you watch it back later on and look how the files are actually, it starts with controller, moves into player service, moves into repository, moves into request, and then moves to the model, which then gets returned back to the controller, which gets called by the endpoint here. So if you watch that back later on, you'll be able to kind of figure out the path that it takes to do that from there. Yeah, so Esther has already asked for that, and I've got no problem with that. I will go ahead and do that. In terms of Unity, how that happens in Unity, I actually thought it was going to be way more complicated than it was, but it's actually like super simple. So I created this API manager, and I made it a singleton, which, by the way, if anyone wants to know how to create singletons very easily, I think I have it in one of my other tutorial videos, but so I created this file here, which is a mono singleton, which basically, if you're not familiar with the singleton pattern, it lets you call this file, once it's included in your project, it lets you call it from any other file that you've got included in the scene at one time. So say, for instance, I wanted to go into my API manager and I wanted to set a variable, simple variable in here. Ooh. And I wanted to call this variable from a. In fact, let me just go into. I wanted to call this variable from another script. I would now be able to, because I've got this mono singleton here. So if I wanted to go into my leaderboard, for instance, I could say API manager dot instance and then dot, and then I can now get anything that's included within that file inside here. So it automatically makes everything that's in there available, and that's called a singleton pattern. Now, this mono singleton file here, you would have to have all of this boilerplate code in every single one of your singletons if you wanted to do it that way. But if you copy what I've done here, copy it and make it into a file called monosingleton.cs, then inside any file that you want to be a singleton, all you do is change it from mono behavior to mono singleton, give it the class name here, and then that automatically becomes its own singleton. So it's very, very nice, quick way. Very quick tutorial for you, but it's a very nice, quick way to get a singleton working within your app. So where was I? Yeah, so the API manager, this is to make a request to a server. All you have to do is do this coroutine here. And in this instance, I'm doing a create new player one. So when the game loads for the first time, if you haven't ran the game before, it will automatically hit this endpoint, which will create a new player for you. And it will save a user ID into your local game database. So I pass in the player GUID. Hit the request once here, and then if it's an error, I break and I put a debug in there. If not, it just goes ahead and it returns as successful in there. And that is literally all you have to do to send a web request off. So any API that's out there that exists in the world right now, that is all you have to do in order to be able to hit a server and pull back data from within there. Very, very nice, very simple to do. The leaderboard entry, this is how I, inside here, this is how I list all 10 of those. So if you look back to Unity, you can see all 10 of those are listed on the right-hand side. They're not individual UI elements. I created one prefab of the element, and then inside this method here, I've got a for each loop, and that actually creates them it instantiates them from the prefabs and just puts them on the screen. So I'm not sure if that's enough explanation for people watching right now, but I have been asked to, and I am going to do a full tutorial on how to create an API and how to actually pull in all of the data from that API inside Unity, because I can see a lot of people making use of this, right? Everyone kind of needs some data connectivity in some way, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. This is you've probably one of your biggest videos would be this, I think.
Yeah, I think it's knowing.
It's probably a longer video than normal as well, because there's a lot obviously going on. But
yeah, I mean, it's hard because it's such an in-depth thing to actually get involved in, because you've got all of these different moving parts. Like, I haven't even shown you half of the logic that I needed to do to get the actual API working and secure as well, to make sure that nobody's able to just kind of jump in and start submitting crazy high scores. And, and I didn't want to show that kind of thing because it's got like kind of secrets of how I actually do that in there. So I didn't actually want to show that either. But there's the database setup, there's the server configuration, there's the Laravel project itself, there's getting it set up in Unity, and there's also the whole of the thing. Like, I actually went into, I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with it, but I use something called draw.io when I'm planning out these things. So it's like a flowchart creator. It's an online flowchart creator. So I had to do all of that first to make sure that I hadn't missed out any kind of areas where, because as soon as you put something online, people are going to try to exploit it, right? That's what happens in the techno age. That's, as soon as you put anything online, people try to exploit it. If it's a high score module like this is, they're going to try and give themselves 20 million points, like I'm sure you'll try and do after this call. But you've got to try and protect it. So there's things that I do that, and I've built into my agency as well, that we do to prevent these things from happening. I can't really show that stuff because that's stuff that I've kind of.
This is you have a business on top of things, so this is a bit different. This isn't just me saying, "Hey guys, here's what I found out what to do."
Yeah.
You do have to protect your own actual business as well. So you are coming from a little bit of a different angle. So
yeah, of course.
I think everyone understands that.
Yeah, I think they do as well. And I think I will do a tutorial on it, because I have promised that I will do a tutorial. So I will, once I get a chance. But like you say, it is kind of in depth, and it's too much to go into fully on a call like this, I think.
Yeah.
But the be all and end all of it is, I've shown you the postman. The ability to submit high scores, create users, generate the leaderboards and pull them back down. I've shown you inside Unity, that you can see on the screen again right now, that those leaderboards get pulled in, as they should do, with my username associated. I've done a post within Postman that showed you that score getting submitted, and then I reloaded the leaderboards and you saw it get refreshed in there. So that all fully works in there. So I think in terms of what we're trying to do here and looking at the scoring, we put this down as a 5, which it took a lot longer than a 5, but yeah, I think that's what we agreed on. So what say you, I guess?
With this leaderboards is something that help take a game that could otherwise become stale and give it new life with just trying to compete with other people. So I know that even though you have access to cheat the high scores, I'm not going to stop me from killing your high score. So that'll keep me motivated playing your game. So I'd say yes, obviously that. Yeah, 5 points, and that gives you the win for today.
It does, but I just want to make a point. And I think I made this point on the last session, where I felt that you had to do a lot more work to get to where you were at. So
you're patronizing me now.
No, I'm actually not. What I'm saying is, just because it doesn't matter if you take the win on this or not. I feel that I'm at a point now where my game is fully playable with leaderboards, and it's in a place now where I can actually release it as a demo to the general public and get their feedback, etc. So the whole reason we started off these battles in the first place was to motivate each other to actually be able to complete something. And this is proof in the pudding in exactly what you've managed to create in this time and what I've created in this time. Like, what we've got to remember is we've done this in 4 weeks. Like, I have a working prototype of my game with online leaderboards in 4 weeks. You have your modeled characters, an enemy character, you have it rigged, you have certain different motions that you can start now implementing into the actual core gameplay of a game in 4 weeks. And that's not like something to shake a stick at. That's a lot. That's a lot to get done in a 4 week period. Whereas otherwise, if we didn't have these devlog battles to actually inspire us and motivate us to actually move on and get these things done, who knows what position would be at with our games right now? Would I even have it?
I would still be on the drawing board. So, anyways, Will, I'll say congrats to you on not only the win, but again, you've got, in like you say, 4 weeks. We've gone from essentially. You had a couple of Blender models that you had to recreate, but you went from that to basically a functioning. It's a game. It is a game right now, and with one level, arguably, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I would say a game needs. Traditionally, your start menu, the gameplay, and your end screen, and you have your motivation to keep playing, which is the high score. So whether you're competing against yourself, trying to beat your own high score, or you're just trying to move up the leaderboards. The only other thing that I would offer a suggestion to add to your leaderboard is potentially, for me, I find this gives a little bit more encouragement for those that, like, if you find that you're the bottom portion of it, sometimes I try to compete against. So if I see another Canadian flag, I try to beat that other Canadian to be the top flag. So an idea, just an idea, maybe to somehow have a little icon for flags. That's a lot of work because you have to get, each flag, country flag in there. But maybe that's something that you can add in, some point down the road, or maybe you can say that's a dumb idea, Mike. But either way,
no, that's great. I've just actually wrote it down. So that was a good suggestion. Really good suggestion.
I do know that you have to accommodate all the flags for all the different countries, so that's going to take some time to do, but in terms of you might even be able to pull that off APIs if you grab a website to be able to cross with the region.
There is one already.
Yeah, so I know for me, I always try to beat if I see that I'm close enough to another Canadian, I want to be the top of, I want to represent the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So again, if you want to be, maybe you just want to you want to be better than the UK, which of course is easy to do. So maybe that's your motivation as well. But either way, just again, food for thought. But again, definitely you have gone from really nothing, because you did have to recreate your Blender models, to an actual fully playable game. That you would be happy, you could be happy just having that right now. So congrats. And again, I would say even if we were tied, you definitely have this week. This is 100% on you. Leaderboard, guys, check it again. Anyone watching, look for Will's tutorial on this. Now we're going to hold him to it. So he's already said on live stream that he's going to be putting one out there. Keep in mind, obviously he's going to have his own, certain things he's not going to be able to show, but I think even if you set it up where, if it's not hack proof, I think that would give people enough motivation to at least have something there.
Yeah.
And then people can research their own ways on how to prevent others from easily manipulating the score and whatnot. But aside from that, I think I have to say, Esther and whoever else, I'm speaking for you here. I'd be happy if I could create a leaderboard, even if if there's people out there that they go out there and just try to run up the score by cheating or whatever. That always happens. I mean, you look at there's people that hack all online games now too. So that wouldn't be, in terms of, because there's no monetary value in being top rank, at least with what I'd be doing with my game. It's not the first goal of mine, so it's something that I always work on. So I think getting just to where you are, even without the security in terms of manipulating the score, I think that would be a great tutorial for everyone. It's one of the things that I find that you don't I don't see enough of online, especially with respect to Unity. And it looks like what you've got with the Unity side of it seems relatively simple.
Yeah, it's really nice actually within, because I know with iOS, Swift, and Java or Kotlin or any other language that I can work in, if you can generally get some kind of HTTP library from GitHub or wherever it is that enables you to start making these requests. But as an agency, we are a fully bespoke agency, so we try to build these things out ourselves. So we've actually got now full kind of component libraries that we've created ourselves that enable us to do this. But with Laravel and Unity, the combination of those two together, I absolutely have nothing to start from. And in fact, because I needed to understand how to use Laravel myself as a framework, I mean, Laravel and CodeIgniter, what I used to use, they're both full PHP anyway, so I'm fully averse to PHP, so it's just getting it to grips with the framework surrounding it, because they have a load of little things that they do to help you along the way. So yeah, I think that step of jumping in and getting to grips with Laravel has given me a lot of the backbone that I need in my actual company as well. So that's helped me out a lot, I think. So I think one next thing that we are going to go to, though. So yeah, thanks for saying that I've got the win there. So that puts us both on 1 win each, which, like I say, for me, having a game to the point where it's at right now and the motivation to continue doing that's enough. I think that's what we all want from this, isn't it? And I think one thing that you and I spoke about earlier on, Mike, was that my game is likely going to be kind of completely finished before yours is going to be completely finished. So it's not a case of I win the whole thing if mine's finished first. It's not like that at all. It's a case of is if I do get to that point where I've got this full game released out there on Steam, fantastic. I start my next one at that point, and then we continue these dev battles and we go on, because it's 100% clear that this devlog battle situation that we're in right now is the motivation we need in order to be able to push us to continue doing these things. So I don't want to lose that. If I create my game and get it out there, published and released, what am I doing then? I want to sit down and start a new game and have these exact same things going on for that.
Yeah, I absolutely. The amount that I've learned with Blender, it's now I'm comfortable. For example, you saw the music note. It's also. So the pickup is, I've also used it for my for the health bar and then the treble clef. Again, there's still obviously some things to learn, but I'm now obviously a lot more comfortable with it, which increases my ability to create something. So if I'm looking for some object or something to add to my game and I can't find it on an asset store or I just don't want to spend the money or whatever it may be, I at least now feel comfortable attempting it. So there's no point in stopping. I wouldn't want to, I've spent a lot of time, I've invested it, and there's a lot of help on the community for Blender as well, in terms of if you get some weird hiccups, because I mean, like any software, there's glitches that can happen. So I'd hate to lose that. And same with the game. I mean, you don't want to be. You've just spent how much time, Will, with your API? I know you do this for your company, but at the same time, anything that you may have learned at the same time, you don't want to forget and then go into another lull. I know I won't speak for you, but I know for myself, I've got a number of other games that I've got that I want to work on that I've thought of. So I'm sure you're in the same position. So there's it wouldn't make any sense to stop. So I think we talked about this before, that we knew that there would be one of us was obviously going to be done first.
Yeah.
So unless we were doing the identical style game, it was bound to happen. So this wasn't really ever a race in that respect. So I definitely have a long way to go, but that doesn't mean that Will's off the hook. So that's why he's going to keep going with. He'll have other games going, and he's not done this one yet either. So I think that's a decent segue into our Trello board.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought of what I need to do, or at least worked out yet. My Trello board's actually been. I usually try to have on the board what at least stuff that I need to work on, and I know there's certain things that I probably haven't even added yet. But so with that being said, Will, if you want to go first with your Trello board,
Yeah,
and we'll plan for next week.
Yeah, I can do. I've been doing a little bit as we've been going through the other sections anyway, so that's fine. I'll jump down to my Trello. So you can see I've added some into DevLog Battle 3 already. The design of the sound pack and implementation of the sound pack. Now, implementation of the sound pack is Unity make it so easy to start adding your sounds in, etc. So as far as I'm concerned, that's the lowest value, and that's a 1. The design of the sound pack is where I'm completely now out of my comfort zone. I've already got some sounds in there, but they're not right. They need to be more subtle. It's a game that I want people to be able to play when they're having a bit of a bad day, or they're sitting on the train going to work and they just want a bit of peace and something calm to play. So more of a kind of not pointed at mental health like it's a big thing at the moment. So everyone's trying to do something to cater for it. But it is about mental health. It is about kind of being able to just relax with a game instead of like, you play a lot of these games where you're trying to have a race with something, or you're trying to fight something, or whatever that is, and they give you anxiety when you play them. This is a kind of game that you can just kind of sit back, relax, and just play with. So the sound pack needs to fall into that. It needs to be very relative to that. So I think I need to put some more thought into that, and I'm calling that a 3. Which is kind of half a day. Is it half a day or is it a day? Yeah. So I think I'd actually be happy with that. I think I'm going to get my keyboard. I've got a keyboard. It's been in the attic for years, so I'm actually going to drag that out. I'm going to use that to start with and start kind of playing with some kind of subtle sounds, and then I'm going to throw them into Audacity, start playing with some effects, and try to just kind of take any harshness off it and just kind of make it a nice, gentle sound. So I think a day to actually create a full sound pack for all of that. I think it's acceptable. I think there's also a couple of sounds here that you haven't seen in the game, like the power-ups, etc. as well. Like, I need to do sounds for those as well. So I think all of that will fall into this, which is a 3. So I've got a 1 for the implementation of the sound pack, but a 3 to actually design the sound pack, okay? Then I have the implementation of multiple input devices for displaying controller feedback to the user. So this means when a control method gets changed, I change all of the icons within the game, like the X, A, and B, and the bumper buttons that you see on the screen, to match the device that's being used. So I've actually got this kind of incorporated in part on the start screen already, where if I connect my controller, it changes the start button to be an A to start the game. So I just need to put that in for PlayStation 4 controller, Xbox controller, and full keyboard support. As I say, I've already done some of that, so I'm only really polishing off those kind of things. So I'm going to put that as a 2. Then I have, the implementation of color progress. So let me switch to Unity and show you what I mean by this. So if I just run the game, just go ahead and turn my controller on. Okay, so if you see on the left-hand side here, I have these three bars, progress bars, with colours associated underneath them and points associated at the top. Now, the general idea of this is, as you're adding items into the grid here that match the colours on the bars on the left, these progress bars will increase, and when it hits the top, it will give you a bonus amount of points to go onto your score. And then once you've completed this bar, it will explode or something, and then it will change colour to another random colour, and then that will start filling up from that point. So that's kind of what the idea is for these ones on the left. It's to generate more points for you, I guess. So that's one section that I'm going to be incorporating in this next version. Let me switch back to Trello. Where am I? There. So that's this one here. Implement color progress indicators that build towards power-ups. So I'm going to say that this is probably going to be a 2-day thing. So I'm going to say that this is a 5. That's 2 to 3 days. So, I mean, feel free as well, by the way, to fire back and say that you don't think something's going to take that long, and we'll have a chat on what we think the points are going to be. But I think the grand scheme of things, the ability to start increasing these these bars on the left hand side, to be able to randomly generate what color you're tracking, to be able to start tracking all of those colors right up to the top of the bar here, then have it explode and randomly generate another color, and then say that's what you're now tracking towards. I think that 2 to 3 days, I think that's an acceptable amount of time towards it. What do you think?
Knowledge that, for example, you managed to, I know you say it took longer, but for the API, if I was doing the same thing, yeah. It would take me longer, and I feel like there is a bit of a balance where we need to acknowledge that certain things are going to take someone else longer, and it's not necessarily fair to, like, I mean, if we're just doing a simple input, get key down type of thing, if you're a slow typer or whatever, there's things we're going to be like, no, that's not going to work. But you have to acknowledge that the same thing that you did for me, in that Blender is obviously something each week was something, or each of our videos here, it was something that I was going into that was completely new for me. So the animation process, I should say, is, even though the end result wasn't necessarily what I was going for, it obviously took me longer to get to that point than it would be somebody who's obviously a master at it. And that's not what our goal is. Our goal is to account for, we know it's going to take that you that you at this point, when you're hitting the music, if it's not really your strength, you're not even sure what you don't know yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, so it's that's 100% acceptable. I think that's probably going to take you. I think, if we're being honest at this point, I don't know that there's anything that we put down that actually took less time than what we've said. I think everything is, we're both trying to be quasi reasonable with, because we like we say, we know there's going to be hiccups, there's going to be things, and part of the thing too is, if you're working on, even if you're making progress, you're going to get interrupted. We both, again, have families, jobs, the lives around us. So there's going to be times when you hit a point, you have to take a break and then come back and refamiliarize yourself with where you're at and whatnot. So no, absolutely. I think you're good. Personally, I'm hoping you don't hit the same point scheme, because I'm just going through mine right now, and I don't think I'm going to be able to hit. I think 14 was what your points was worth. I think I'm still going to be probably close to 10 points again, but.
I think
so we'll see how you go. I don't want to limit you to. The thing is, at the same point, I don't want you to not engage in something that you have time for, just because I don't. So
yeah,
I don't know how many points you're at.
No,
right
but
now.
that's it. I mean, at the same time, it's not really fair for me to just be adding a ton more tickets in, so that I know that I'm going to get more points than you at the end. So therefore, I'm going to win the battle by default. That's not right either. So I think one thing that we can do is this is what we can do. So right now, let's jump back onto what I was saying here anyway. So that's 5 for that one, right? And then I'm going to say the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to implement my power-ups, which are these items here on the right-hand side. So this one here is a color switch. This one here is an explosion. Once you get the explosion, whichever grid item you're selected at the time, you can press Y, and it will automatically kill all of those hexagons within that grid block, so that you can continue going if you find yourself stuck, right? So these three power-ups are all going to be different things, and some of these power-ups, like you see at the top here of the actual bars, some of these are worth points, but some of these will actually randomly be a power-up as well, so you can actually earn a power-up. So once you get to the top of the bar, you earn a power-up, and then you can now access it via this right-hand side menu here. So I'm going to implement all of those as well. And at the same time, I think that's also going to be a 5-task. I also want to get the demo on itch.io so that people can actually download the demo. And I think that's going to be several hours. So I mean, if I use, from what I've seen, it might not be that. In fact, I'm going to put this down as a 1 because I think it might just be 1 to 2 hours because I'll have to create all screenshots and do all descriptions and get the files uploaded and get them ready for download. And so I don't think it's a nothing task. I think it's definitely a something task. So I'll put that in as a 1. So what it actually looks like on the grand scheme of things here is I've got 11, 13, 14. I've got 17 points, right? Which we're saying is you're, based on the stuff that you're going to be working on next, you're not going to get nowhere near 17. So I'm happy to say that these tickets I'm going to complete within our next battle. Regardless of the amount of points that it earns me, I will match the amount of the points that you're going to earn as well. So we'll be level pegging, and then we can decide between us what's actually been done and who we deem to actually be the winner based on what they've actually done from there. Because then I think that takes away the unfairness of me just having more points than you every week because I do more tickets. I think that's... Would you say that makes it fairer?
Yeah, I don't want to have to handicap myself if that's PC.
Well, too late. You're yeah, Canadian. Yeah, all right.
The thing is, right now, so far, nobody's had any. There hasn't been a detriment to losing yet. So we both now lost once with no, without having to worry about the consequences. So as long as I'd rather that than you pull tickets away from yourself, because again, that kind of goes against what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
Right? We want to push each other to go the game, not hold each other back. So we could, I think at this point, we could hold it up that we just vote like you say, and then we can also take influence from the people watching the stream, and they will count.
Actually, Peggy's just highlighted the fact. She said consequences. Because you won the last battle, I'm actually supposed to be doing some part of this with a voice changer, right?
I think you sound terrible enough. I don't know if that's going to be.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think you should have a Canadian accent so that I can actually understand you for once. That would actually be that would be a reward, though. That's not really a consequence. You'd be leveling up. So I don't know what to do for a consequence. We can, I think, in all honesty, now that we've kind of it's a bit late in our both videos, I think next week we both should suffer the consequence because we both have now lost one. So
well, how about next week? I'm going to put my green screen behind me, and I'm going to have the Canada flag on my green screen behind me. And how about you? You haven't got a green screen, but how about you do some something UK like on yours as well?
Okay, you know what? I'll definitely do that. We'll start off tame. I will definitely be. Maybe I'll have a cup of tea and I'll have the UK flag behind me. Maybe I'll come up with something nice. It'll be
all
good.
right. So,
okay. Yeah. So we'll start that off again. That's one thing we've kind of lost focus of was the consequences because of the game, which is for the viewers. I apologize, but I mean for us that we've been focusing on our game. So again, I apologize for we kind of forgot about that, which was kind of one of the motivations to keep getting ourselves going for this, to not lose the battle. So, okay. So we've agreed that and we'll push it for the next time. We'll both have to represent the other's country. And we'll leave it, we'll vote on what we've done for the week. But at the same time, I'm okay with keeping the points in terms of it's a good, like, I mean, this has been your business model, right? Where you use this to determine what's capable of being done in the week and whatnot. So I think we keep going with the points, so at least people can, the viewers can be we're being transparent to our viewers, saying that you know, you've put in definitely, because that should sway some people. If you've put in 17 hours and I've only put in 10, admittedly that should still count in your benefit towards swaying. If people say that just for whatever reason they're tired of looking at your face, which I get, and we want to give me the win, then that's fair too. But so we keep the points, but at the same time, the points can only be for, maybe that goes to the tiebreaker. If the viewers and with us can't agree, then maybe we just go, well, you definitely put a lot more effort into it, or had more time, whatever, and get you the whatever. So,
all right, so
I'm good with
let's,
that.
Let's just as one last time then. This is my Trello board for next week. So DevLog Battle 3 here. All of these tickets in here. So we're saying 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17 points. So we're saying that I could potentially earn a total of 17 points within the next 2 weeks before our next battle. So what say you then, Mr. Mike?
Okay, so I've been kind of working on this. I definitely don't have 17. I think I'm at 10 again, but I don't know if that's where I'm going to live out. So here's my Trello here. So at this point, I've got sound effects. I'm kind of with you in that, what I'm going to, again, I'm trying to, I don't know if that I really, planned this ahead of time, but the more I do this, I've been trying to be organic in that I'm trying to make everything, not necessarily from scratch, but I'm trying to create it all from myself. I think the Blender, you helped push me into that kind of direction. That's kind of made it where I'm aiming to do everything myself. So I do have what I think I'm going to try to do here. So for the sound, again, I've got to come up with, I don't know, I'm going 3 points here for this, mainly because I don't really know how long this is going to take. So I'm trying to, I can't be aggressive with, I don't think I could be aggressive with the strumming. Like if you think of any kind of automatic type gun, like a machine gun or whatever, right? I don't want to have an obnoxious sound. So at some point I have to kind of either balance or come up with something that sounds good. But my goal is going to be, I'm going to record the name of my game, which has been, I've had 2 different names that I've been working on. The one I'm leaning towards is Lord of Chords, just to kind of go more with my the background. So each note, at least at this point, it's going to be a chord. So I'm going to record a bunch of chords. I'll have them in whatever key, and then I have to come up with a way to sequence the note. I don't think I want to have the same. So if it's an E major chord, I don't want to just keep hearing the same E major chord every time you strum.
Yeah.
But maybe my goal is not going to be that. My goal is to have a series of random that'll, as you strum, it'll play notes, but it'll obviously be in the same key, so that it won't sound terrible that way. But I'm not sure. Again, I'm aware that there's going to be an issue of being obnoxious that I'll have to come across and get around. So I won't really know until I just do it. So what I'm going to do is record. I'm going to just plug in my guitar. I've got an old MacBook here, and GarageBand is, again, you know me, I try to do everything for free if I can. So
Typical.
I'm gonna yeah. My moose bucks don't go very far these days. Okay, so I'm just gonna plug in the guitar. I'll have different. I'm gonna have different sound effects too. I've got some ideas of, again, it is going to be kind of music themed. I don't necessarily want to force music down people's throats, but at the same time, so there's going to be clean sounding, different distortion sounds. So I'm going to record just a whole bunch of strums and then open up Audacity again with the free, just to edit them down, and then tweak them and get a good, what I think is a good sound that'll actually be repetitive enough. I'll also have to work on my delay between notes to help, to help offset being, annoying. So I haven't come up with a way. I'll have to record all those, try to put them together, and then just as you strum, it'll pull a potentially random from whatever I've recorded, and then switch the sound effect. I'm kind of thinking, I don't know if you've played any type of game like Guacamelee, for
Yeah, I have
example,
played that.
where, okay, so you know how, again, this is kind of foresight. If there's there's a dimension-ish type shift between. You can change between.
It's like inverted and normal.
Yeah. So what I'm kind of thinking ahead of time is that there's going to be enemies that are prone to like clean attacks. Clean being the sound versus distorted attacks. So I've kind of got two completely different ways to not be obnoxious. So I have to come up with a distortion type sound that'll be sounding random, but still sound like it's intent. I don't want it to sound like he's just hitting random notes. I want it to sound always like it's intentional. So he sounds like he's like he knows what he's doing. But both for distortion, both for clean. Work that out. That's going to be at least a day for me. Probably more, but whatever. So I don't. Again, this is one of those areas that I won't know until I just do it. So I've set up 3 points for that.
How can we see these on your Trello board? But it's quite hard, I think, to understand what tickets you're actually working on, etc., in your Trello board.
Well, that's what. Okay, so
for where is that one, for instance?
What I've done. Okay, so that's over here. So I'm looking at. I don't see it on. Can I see it over? Yeah, I can see it there. Okay, so you can't see my mouse right now?
No.
I pulled this up for nothing then. Okay, so under, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 columns from the left, sound effects. It's the top one. So everything right now I've marked. If you've noticed, there's 3 that marked with, there's a red, it says Dev Battle. So I've marked 3 right now. So the one all the way to the far right says sound effects, says Storm Attack sound. That's the one that I've clicked open. So I've got 2 little, a checklist of 2 things right now. So that's the one, the red ones right now. You can see there's only 3. So there's one. So my main character column.
So Unity animations for character, projectiles, guitar, and strum attack sound. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. So the strum attack is what I was just talking about now. And now if we go back, I'm going backwards now towards the left. So second column over says guitar weapons on the top. I need I got to start working on projectiles because the whole point of this is to start shooting it out. So I've got here that I need to, obviously, I've got to create whatever I'm going to have for a projectile, which I don't have yet. I need to start, I got to work on the collision for it. And again, I want this to come out as not, I don't want it to be necessarily a set, because sound doesn't go in, it's not in one linear, right? It projects out. So I've got to, I mean, in simple base, if you think of a cone, your cone shape for your projectile, for your particle effects, I'm thinking of I don't even know yet what I want to send out, but I'm going to somehow come up with some kind of particles. I think that's going to take me half a day just to work out I have to figure out what I want to do. I'm probably going to come up, again, I like that I'm falling back on Blender now. So I'll probably go into Blender rather than, say, Illustrator, make a 3D object to shoot out. But I'm not really sure. I don't know what I want to do for that yet. So again, I've kind of got an idea where I need to be, just not what it needs to be. So basically that, because I want to be able to shoot. So I want to be able to, and run that into my code. So I'll be able to hit. Right now I'm not using the controller yet. I should. I've got both an Xbox and a PlayStation controller here, but either way, I'll just click the mouse or whatever space bar, whatever it's going to be on the keyboard, just for trial. Okay. And then the animations, this is gonna be the main one, because at the end of this, so this is now my bottom left column here. So I've opened it up. I need to have, I don't have that, you can't see it, but I need to not only implement a couple more animations. So I need to do a jump animation, which I don't know that I really want to have jump, but I just know for myself that when there's a platformer or side scroller, anyways, it's not necessarily a platformer. This is gonna be side scroller, but I hate when I just sometimes you forget, like in if you've played Demon Souls or any other iterations of that. At first instinct, I mean, those games you quickly forget you can't jump. But I know right away, I'm like, oh, you can't jump. I hate that. Again, games like that are able to get by. I don't know that I'd rather have created a jump animation and set it up to jump and then just decide I don't need it after than the other way around. So I still need to do jump animation. I want to have a run animation. So I've got the walk already, but I want a run animation. And then the big thing is I got to work on these transitions. So I haven't gone to, I think I've only dealt with it once, and that was with, again, with John's, one of his tutorials. I think it was in the intensive training that I did we did some kind of blend tree bit, and I don't think it worked out for me.
Right.
So I had to do a walk transition, the run transition, a swing transition, my jumps, all the different transitions, I don't know if I said the strum transition yet. So this is going to, I think this alone, because I'm acknowledging that I'm basically going to be going through back to Mixamo and kind of starting over so I can at least parent the guitar. That was one of the harder things too, was not just not knowing Blender, but trying to implement a guitar within where I'm thinking in Unity where I just want to parent the rotation I mean, I'm sure you can. I don't know how. And my default is, obviously in C#. Obviously, I think actually I probably could use Python. I think there's probably ways to deal with that in Blender, which is a cool feature. That's something else that I could probably look into at some point. But again, both of us have been focusing. I don't know if we made it clear to everybody that we're at least at this point we're solely on Unity.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to get out of Blender as a focus. I want to get Blender as just a tool and Unity become the focus. So at that point, I got to do a lot of tweaking and stuff. So I think my animations at the end of it, at the end of our next challenge, I want to have basically my character fully functional in terms of shooting, animating, running, walking, and that's going to take me that's a week, I think, right there. So
okay,
I think that's all I'm going to commit myself to right now is the.
So how many points is that in total?
So that's 10 points.
10 points. So that's Unity animations for your character, projectiles for the guitar, and strum attack sound.
And the sounds, yeah.
Okay, so that'll take us over the next 2 weeks. The next battle will be on the 18th of October. Same time, 3 o'clock UK. What was that, Canadian? 10? Yeah. It was about 10, I think, wasn't it? So, if I remember right.
It's, you know what? That is one of the things that I don't know anyone that says it. I mean, we say a lot, but a boot, a boot is something I'll be putting on soon because it looks like the snow is going to come here soon. But,
well, I think wasn't Canada actually called CND at one point, but then somebody was asked to spell it. It was like CANADA. So I remember that maybe. Maybe not.
I will not confirm nor deny that.
Yeah, no. So we've got 2 weeks now. We're looking at the 18th of October for the next one. I have a total of 17 points to complete, which is going to be quite difficult. You also have 10 points to complete, and I think you're actually going to come stuck on some of those animations. I think they're going to take you longer than you're estimating. But let's see where we get to.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
So what my goal is to be the truth is this. I know it's going to be my struggle, and so. But that's the gameplay, and I really, the reason that's part of why I'm going back. I'm going to take what I can from the Mixamo, because you're controlling this character, and if my animations as they are, even though again, like Peggy said there, it's you're looking at it from the profile. It's not going to be obvious when they're terrible, but I don't want to start my foundation on sand. You know what I mean? So at least at this point. If I use Mixamo, I can blame other people.
No.
Say, well, that's the best that they could do, I guess. So no, but I'd rather start with something I'd be happy with, and the truth is, I'm not happy with my animations right now. So
okay,
that's what we're gonna do. I need to get that done, and
all right. Well,
that's what the goal I'm setting. So
yeah, so that gives us.
Well, good luck to you, and. I look forward to seeing the flag in the background.
Yeah, also don't forget I'll let you know when it is, obviously on Twitter and stuff as well, but when I release the demo to this game that I'm actually working on.
Yes.
It's going to be in the next couple of days. And don't forget,
Thursday you're going to be doing a little bit of a reversal next Thursday for you.
I'm going to put it up for the public to actually feedback on my game as I'm playing it, so that'll be a nice little thing, and hopefully I'll see you on that stream, Mike, so you can actually get involved in that as well.
I will. Yeah,
I think putting it on itch.io is a good start. People will be able to play it on there. I think that's a good place to start with, because from what I believe, Steam is a whole different beast of actually getting your game listed on there in the first place. So I need to investigate that. So I'm going to put it on itch.io first and see where we get to.
Yeah, I'll admit I looked into how complicated. I was under the impression that putting it on Steam was relatively simple, and it's not as easy as I thought.
Yeah.
Now I haven't put anything on Steam, but I assumed it was really like basically just, hey, you put a game on, you've got an account, throw it on there. It is not that easy.
Yeah, from everything that I've read from other people doing it, it's a much more lengthy and complicated procedure. But
yeah, I can confirm. So.
It's one that I want to get involved with, and also I don't know where I'm going to fit it, because I've just realised, but I've given myself all of these tickets to actually complete within the next 2 weeks, and I haven't factored in the time I'm going to have to take to actually make this tutorial either. So that should be fun to try and get this the API tutorial out there as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that challenge.
So I can expect your coworkers to be happy that their boss won't be around for the next 2 weeks. Probably.
Well, this is the thing, that the boss is not going to be able to. The boss has got to be around. So yeah, I have my full-time job, plus this is very, very much a side gig. My agency is super busy right now. We don't have crunch times per se, but we have a lot of things that we're working on that are coming to a close right now. So we are kind of getting our heads down and getting involved in that. So the days are longer than they usually are. So with that in mind, I've got to do that. Then I've got to come back and do this in my extra time, plus find the time to do a tutorial, plus find the time to be a father to 4 children. I've got a hard 2 weeks ahead of me, but I relish a challenge. Let's go for it.
All right. Well, good luck again.
Cheers, mate.
And look forward to next Thursday, watching your you playing your demo and figuring out how you're going to release that to the public, at least the demo version.
Yeah. All right, cool. Great work this week. This last 2 weeks, Mike. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I shall see you all again in 2 weeks. I think we said, was it the 18th, Mike? It was the 18th.
I did not fact check that.
I've just fact checked
2 weeks from today.
Yeah, so it is the 18th, and Mike, as you all know, has just said that he's going to have a complete game by then as well. So no, he's not. That's a joke. He's not. All right, so I shall speak to everyone in the next couple of weeks. Mike will be in touch over Twitter, etc. Anyway, and if you need any help with anything that you're working on, don't ask me.
I know.
All right, see you soon.
Okay, see ya.